Want to get to this now. Hostilities appear to be halting in the Middle East. President Trump saying that negotiations with Iran will resume tomorrow in Doha, Qatar. This comes after both countries traded intense strikes over the weekend, starting at the end of last week. Alex Hogan has more. North Lawn, the White House. What are you hearing, Alex? Good morning.
Hi, Bill. So a U.S. official tells me that Iran and the U.S. will stand down on attacks. Vessels in the Strait of Hormuz can move freely, and technical talks on the Memorandum of Understanding will continue. President Trump this morning announced that there will be a meeting in Doha tomorrow, saying that Iran has requested it, but Iranian officials today deny that any meetings are scheduled yet.
Special Envoy Witkoff and Jared Kushner will be flying to Doha for high-level meetings this week as we continue to discuss the Memorandum of Understanding. On the sidelines of those high-level talks will be the technical talks.
This weekend, the U.S. military carried out strikes in Iran after Iranian attacks on vessels in the Strait of Hormuz. Tehran then targeted U.S. military sites in Kuwait and Bahrain, but officials say that every attack was intercepted or failed. We've heard Iranian officials in the last couple days argue that Tehran still controls the strait. UN Ambassador Mike Waltz pushing back on those comments and the idea of Iranian tolls in the waterway.
President Trump's not going to stand for it. And meanwhile, we continue to move ships out by the dozens every day. And world oil prices are not just stable, they're dropping.
So we are seeing those prices continue to drop. AAA says that the daily national average is now at $3.86. Meantime, we're also hearing now from the White House telling Fox that Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Witkoff will have a briefing to tell the full House and Senate about the latest on this peace plan. Again, that taking place later this afternoon. Bill?
Alex, thanks. Alex Hogan watching all that from the White House. Thank you. Dana?
And joining us now is the very patient former Navy SEAL, Jack Carr. He's also the host of the Fox Nation special, Jack Carr Investigates Carlos the Jackal, which I would love to see. You sat through with us while we did all the Supreme Court stuff, but we want to talk to you about Iran. This from the Institute for the Study of War. Iran strikes may reflect an Iranian effort to dissuade the Gulf states from resisting Iranian control over the strait. I think that seems pretty true, right? That's the leverage they have?
Well, we have to remember we came into 2026 on a win with Venezuela. We had a couple other small special operations focused wins leading up to that. We had last summer when we were told that the nuclear ambitions and facilities in Iran were destroyed, really probably degraded though. Language is important. Precision in language reflects precision in thought. So now we move into this where we think we have about a 30-day window here where we can force Iran to the negotiating table and to achieve the goals that we want, which is no more nuclear weapons, no more ballistic missile capability, and no more support for proxy terrorist organizations, namely Hezbollah. We don't have all of that yet as we move into these new negotiations. So from the viewer perspective, it seems like we're seeing the same things that we saw last month. And the question is, will we see these same things in July? Will we see these same things?
Yeah, how do you break the cycle?
Exactly. How do you break that cycle when Iran is very good at doing what they do with stalling and delaying?
Do you think we can get to that point? Like, is there a forcing mechanism on the leaders in Iran where they will say, okay, you've got a deal?
That's what we're going to find out here if we go through enough of the leadership till we get to someone, to a group of people that will let us achieve those goals. And we don't know yet. If we look at the past 40 years, it doesn't look like that is a very achievable goal, but we don't know. This is a new era of
60
warfare.
60 days
so
could go to 90, 90 could go to 120.
But whatever it is, it can't. The end result of these negotiations can't hinge on trust, because if the past tells us anything, we cannot trust that Iran will not continue to support Hezbollah. We cannot trust that they will not continue to develop this nuclear capability and this ballistic missile capability. So any negotiation cannot be reliant on trust, that's for sure.
And I'm sure that the Gulf nations are saying, like, we cannot have a situation where this goes on forever. And the question about Iran being able to levy a fee, or whatever they're going to call it, should that be out of bounds? Would you say that that should absolutely not be allowed?
Well, I think we've said that already. So now we have to follow up on what we said, and we have used terms like unconditional surrender. So now not just the populace here in the United States, but the world is looking at that. And when I say the world, more specifically, I'm meaning Russia, China, and North Korea are looking at that. Can we back up that rhetoric with action to get the end political result that we want?
Can you put a percentage as of this hour, on this day of this week, what the chances of us going back to war with Iran are?
Well, I think we're going to see more of what we saw in the last couple months, which is what we saw over the weekend. But once again, we can't predict the future. But I would say if we look at the past and then use that as wisdom to look towards the future, we'll see more of that in the months to come.
What does a Jack Carr do on the 4th of July?
That is a good
do you
question.
celebrate?
That was a big question in our household because this is a big one, of course.
Yes.
And I'll keep that secret. I might post from there because sometimes it's like New Year's, you build it up too much.
Yeah.
But I think this is going to be a good one.
Have a good one.
I think someone like Jack Carr has got a load of fireworks somewhere. That's what I think.
All legal.
Top secret.
All right, great to see you.
Appreciate it.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.